Saturday, May 22nd, the moon will be in Libra all day. This is going to be a day where there are 6 moon aspects taking place. And realistically, outside of all the moon aspects, Mercury is making an aspect with Neptune. Other than that, I would deem this as another moon day. But we can't because of that last aspect. So the moon in Libra, again, wants to find balance, wants to find peace, wants to find harmony. How do we do that? Talking things out. It's an air energy. It's a collaborative energy. It's a very shallow energy. We want to keep things light and fluffy. However, the conflict here is that some of the changes and transformations that we're looking to make are not on a shallow level at all. They're on a very deep level. Again, we're still kind of under the influence of the full moon in Scorpio energy, that deep probing transformation taking place in the mind, body, and soul, illuminating the shadow part in order to turn that pain into power, that darkness into light. So, the Libran energy is grasping at straws, trying to stay in the shallow end of the pool. It will be making a trine with the true node. So, it's almost like the moon in Libra opens up the day and says, okay, all right, I get it. We have to figure something out. We have to be logical here. We have to make a plan for the future. What are we going to do? How can I align with the future dream and the future reality that I'm creating if I have no clue how to deal with the present moment? And so this little conversation here is, the attempt to try to find balance and clarity in the moment, so that we can find the clarity on the path that we're trying to move forward to reach that true node destination. The moon will also be opposing Chiron. This isn't going to be so good, especially because we want to stay in the shallow end of the pool, and Chiron pretty much rules the deep side. And Chiron wants to expose for us underneath this particular energy where unprocessed memories and trauma and emotions are still kind of swimming in the deep end. And the moon in Libra is in the shallow end waving, squirting it, wanting to play Marco Polo and have a noodle fight. And Chiron is practically drowning in the deep end because he's been, wading water, trying to move through the darkness and the shadow parts of the inner healing transformation. And nobody's even throwing this dude a lifeline. Why? Because nobody wants to go to the deep end. It's dangerous over there. You might get pulled under. You might drown over there. So Chiron starts kind of like kicking and screaming and splashing in the water, saying, hey, I'm over here. Come get me. We have to talk about something that happened 7 years ago that made you afraid of even swimming in the deep end. Hey, come on over here. We have some emotions and memories and trauma of you, drowning at a young age that makes you now fearful for not being able to swim in the free ocean. Now you're just contained to a kiddie pool. Do you want to live in that kiddie pool for very long, or do you want to free yourself, take off your life jacket, recognize that you're able to swim, that you're able to tread water, that you're able to keep your head above water and still deal with your shit? So there is going to be an interesting conflict there happening because, again, that Libra moon wants to keep everything light and fluffy, and Chiron doesn't know light and fluffy. We're not here for light and fluffy. So the energy kind of continues because the moon in Libra will square Saturn. And again, Saturn brings that negative Nancy narrative into our heads. It is Lord of Karma. It is kind of heavy. And this particular energy is very much illuminating for us, bringing into awareness the mental and emotional restrictions that we're currently experiencing. So it's almost like, to continue with the pool analogy, I love y'all's feedback too. I think it's great when you guys let me know whether the analogies work for you or the conversations or the voices work for you and give you a better understanding of what's going on. So if you're definitely digging these analogies, drop me a note because it just encourages me to continue these rants. But anyways, it's almost as if Saturn is the lifeguard. And he's watching this conversation between, the moon in Libra sitting in the shallow end wanting to play Marco Polo with, floaties on and a life jacket on and pool noodles, like just scared to death that, he was going to drown, right? And then Chiron over there kicking and screaming and asking for somebody to come and even acknowledge that he's drowning. And Saturn is up there as the lifeguard trying to say to like this moon in Libra, like, you know, there's not an invisible line that once you swim over it, you're just going to drown, you know, bring in an awareness like, Libra, what happened to you that you feel like you have to wear, you know, a life jacket and floaties and have 50 pool noodles all in the shallow end where you could just stand up, right? So Saturn's trying to bring awareness of the emotional and mental trauma that we would have, you know, gone through in our lives that are creating the restrictions within us that is preventing us from actually diving in deep to the healing, to the trauma, to the repressed memories that are kicking and screaming, that are asking for our attention right now. And basically that is Chiron asking for help in the deep end. So are we going to save Chiron? Or are we going to turn around and just catch a tan laying in the shallow end, right? That is what the moon trining Saturn is asking us. So outside of the moon energy, we have Mercury squaring Neptune. Now Mercury in Gemini, slowing down because he's in a retro shade. Square is attention, is a crisis point. Neptune, not a big logical thinker anyways. He's a dreamer. He's in Pisces. He's all about illusion and fantasy land and imaginary land and dreams and vision. This is going to create a brain fog like no other. Why? Because we need to shut that mental plane down in order for our heart and our soul to lead. This brain fog is illuminating for us where it is that we've been trying to think logically through things, not realizing that feelings, dreams, visions, intuition is not logical. We can't make sense of it. It's divine, it's cosmic, it's metaphysical. It is beyond our physical realms. It is beyond logic. It is beyond practicality. And our intuition is strong because, again, that Neptune and Pisces energy just wants our intuition to lead. But at the same time, we're not really in the present moment. We're kind of in la-la land. So if I was to go ahead and continue with the pool scenario, we have Mercury squaring Neptune saying, okay, let's swim in the dark. So now Chiron, now it's nighttime. Saturn's still a lifeguard. The moon in Libra is still, you know, overly protective of the fear of drowning in the shallow end. Now we're putting nighttime on things. And you know how the nighttime, the moon illuminates things and everything looks different. Well, now, you know, Chiron is swimming towards the moon and the moon is swimming towards the invisible line where the shallow end meets the deep end. And suddenly things look different. The moon is illuminating things that we didn't see in the daytime. And we can't really think clearly. We can't see clearly. We can't tangibly know that, you know, you're X amount of feet away from me. And what we have to do is we have to rely on the darkness. We have to rely on our other senses to kick in and to show us that, you know what, we can actually feel the presence of one another. We can feel where the bottom of the pool is going to kick out and start declining into the depths. We can feel the moisture of the colder air of night touch our body in a way that we haven't felt in a while. And we feel drawn now in the darkness to face the darkness, which is Chiron. We reach out a hand and we grasp that hand and we pull each other in. And that is where we find balance. That is where we find our center point. That is where we accept to face the fact that we have mental and emotional restrictions, that we can delete the old program of that in 2 seconds. That is when the moon in Libra pulls Chiron into that beautiful point where, you know, the moon can still touch the bottom of the pool, feel safe and secure, knowing that there is a footing underground, feeling centered, feeling grounded enough to know that he could stand up at any time and be saved. And in that moment, holding on to Chiron, accepting the wounds, accepting the trauma, accepting, you know, the repressed memories and emotions that are resurfacing in this pool under this beautiful moonlight, under the supervision of the Lord of Karma himself. Suddenly, we stand up and we put Chiron next to us and he stands up. And what we realize is that we can take the floaties off. We can take the life jacket off. We can get rid of these pool noodles. Why? Because the mental and emotional restrictions that told us that we were unsafe in the shallow end in the first place have now been dissolved because we trusted our intuition. We trusted feeling the pool beneath our feet, feeling the cool air on our skin, feeling the dramatic shift between the elevation of the shallow end and of the deep end meet in the middle, where there is still a grounding point of safety and stability. That is where the magic happens. So I encourage you to walk yourself to the edge of the shallow end, to recognize where it is that you can still stand up, where it is you can take the pool noodles away, where it is you can take the floaties off, where it is that you can take the life jacket off, where it is that you are grounded and where you are centered, by saving yourself, by accepting and extending your hand out to your darkest wounds, memories, and trauma. Save Chiron from the deep end. So that is your energy forecast for Sunday, May 16th to Saturday, May 22nd. A couple of things that I want to bring to your attention. The monthly zodiac forecasts are now 50% off, so you can definitely get in alignment for the remaining 4 major huge events for May, right? So, $555 to invest in yourself and in your future. Not a bad deal. Definitely recommend you go do that. It would be also a perfect time to subscribe to moon readings. We have this full moon eclipse coming up on the 26th. If you are a subscriber to the monthly moon readings, you would know that you get a lot of information from me. You get 2 mini readings throughout the course of the month, both moon guides, the daily moon calendar, all zodiac forecasts, and of course, access to me to make sure that you are in alignment with each cosmic energy shift. If that sounds like a little bit more than you need, you can always just subscribe to the moon guide or to the energy guide. That will keep you in alignment with the energy of the day. I want to thank you all for tuning in to this week's energy forecast. I hope you have a beautiful week, and we'll talk to you soon.